Hi everyone, Spontaneous here, and today we're going to talk about common misconceptions and typical concerns you may have with playing controller with Final Fantasy XIV. The first one is switching over, right? So if you are only ever playing on controller, this is not a concern for you, but if you are a person who's been playing on mouse and keyboard and you're thinking about switching over, you may be wondering how long does it take to get used to it, right? You don't want to be like that person that I knew who played for all about 30 minutes and went, controller sucks. It's like, yeah, your muscle memory isn't there yet, so of course it's going to suck. How long it takes will vary. For me, it took 3 days, and that was not 3 days of playing for like an hour. It was, several hours. So I was on average maybe like 12 total hours for you to fully understand the basics on how to play a controller, mostly because of your muscle memory. Like, if I, a person who's been playing a controller for almost 2 years now, was to suddenly switch to playing on mouse and keyboard for PvE content, which I don't do. I do use mouse and keyboard for PvP content, but not for PvE. I would absolutely, definitely suck. I would end up accidentally using abilities I don't mean to, being slow to target, being slow to dodge, and if I do dodge, not being able to keep up time. These are all things that are because of muscle memory, and these are things you will have problem with when you switch to controller as well. It is completely, absolutely normal. Give it a few days. If you still are having issues, maybe controller is not for you, but if it's only been a few days, it's muscle memory, and that's all it is. The next misconception is if you see somebody who has a crossbar, that doesn't mean they're playing on PS4. There are many people who play on PC who choose to play on controller. Some people would say, well, why would you want to do that when you got mouse and keyboard? Well, some like it better. I like it better. I started on PC, I was playing on mouse and keyboard, and I switched over. There are other reasons why people want to do that, whether it's because of hand size, right? I actually have a hard time because I actually have difficulty reaching control and shift with my hand while moving around because I use proper hand things for typing, and therefore I put this on W and not this, which I've learned is the main difference with people who can and cannot reach with model hands. And I can't break that habit, I just can't seem to. The other thing is carpal tunnel. People who have carpal tunnel may want to use the controller because it is a more rounded shape, it will feel better, especially for longer play sessions. And also anybody who's got like physical handicaps, sometimes moving to controller is better for them. So there are many people who play on PC on controller, and some play it for none of those reasons. Some just play better on it because they're really good at playing on controller. Alright, let's move on to the third one. The next concern is, well, what if I want to do this on mouse and keyboard? Well, do it. There is absolutely no reason other than, I guess, space, why you can't have multiple devices. This is true even for people who play on PS4. You get two USBs, you can hook up a keyboard and a mouse, and yes, Final Fantasy XIV will let you play on PS4 with a keyboard and a mouse. I can't attest to how good the response is for that, but you certainly can do it, it's supported. So there's absolutely no reason why you can't use your mouse to move things around, make some nice hotbars to click on, gather with. I mean, I think controller is better for fishing. Sometimes I will even use my mouse for fishing if I want to watch some YouTube and I'm just not even paying attention. Sometimes I will click on my cross hotbars with my mouse. You can mix and match. The only thing I would recommend you to not do is mix and match during battle. For that, you want to stick to something. Ideally, you don't want to be switching from a controller to suddenly having to reach for your mouse, unless you are actually saving time from doing that, like if you had to target somebody to res in another alliance, having to press a D-pad, potentially, 10 or 15 times is potentially slower than just using your mouse and taking your hand off. But overall, you can pick and choose what content you do with a controller and what content you do with a mouse. And hey, there was even one raid where I did content with a controller and a keyboard because I wanted to strafe. Mix and match. It's your game. Whatever feels best for you. And so we come to the last misconception. You can't play as well on controller. Yes, you can. There are world first readers who play on controller. It has to do with your muscle memory, practice, dedication, how good you make your hotbars, which is true of both setups. Right? Most people who play at the higher levels will be using, whether it's the F keys or they'll be using an MMO mouse to then use that, or they'll be using remapped like R's or T's or something like that. Most people don't just use the keyboard 1 and 0 for their skills, which is a default thing. Likewise with controller, a lot of the higher end players don't just use the default, they use things like expanded or double press hotbar where you do a double tap. These are things you will learn about and should learn about to decide what fits you best. Alright? But you have to think about it and you have to practice it, and that's the only thing that matters. Well, that's it for this video, guys. The next one I would recommend watching is the video on picking a controller, as that can make a difference if you have the opportunity to choose between different controllers. Bye!